Yo guys, and welcome to my FIFA 15 regen video. I hope you enjoy it. So first off, you need to understand what a regen is. A regen is effectively a computer generated player who is spawned into the game when a previous player has retired. Labeling it a regen simply because it's short for regenerated, and your FIFA career mode does this to maintain the number and level of players in the game as the years go by, as otherwise when you reach the last few years of your manager mode there will be a serious lack of players. And after hearing this, you're probably thinking, why do I care? The reason you should is that in an attempt to maintain the same overall standard of players in the game, FIFA effectively has to replace each retiring player with an almost carbon copy in terms of details like the player position, nationality, and eventually rating, which makes a lot of sense, but also means that when some of the best players in the game retire, they are replaced with young prodigies who will one day hit the same overall rating. For example, when Cristiano Ronaldo eventually retires, FIFA will then have to replace him with a left winger from Portugal or whatever level he managed to reach in your career mode, usually about 94. And yes, that does mean that you should be able to sign these young prodigies, and I'm going to show you how. So, how to find regens? Well, finding a regen isn't easy, but it's also not impossible either. Unfortunately, they are completely computer generated, so firstly, they won't have the same name as the player who retired, and also they will have different names in different career modes, so I can't just tell you the name of the players to look for. Firstly, you're going to need to decide on players whose regens you would like to find. So for example, Xavi is 34 years old at the start of the game, and he retires usually within the first 2 to 3 years. So once you've selected a player like Xavi, you want to shortlist them and wait for them to signify that they are going to be retiring in the next season. They usually do this with a 12 months heads up, and most players do retire after about the 34-year mark. But every player is different, and they also react differently on different manager modes. So you want to shortlist any players who you think will be close to retiring. Once this happens, you can move on to the next step. The next step is for the season right after your selected player has retired, and you can double check this as they should no longer be on your shortlist. Now you need to set about finding this player's regen. And you do this by using the information I mentioned before, which the game will have kept the same. So you want to go to your search for a player option and then look for the nationality of the player, the position, and the league in which they retired. You'll also want to limit your search to between 16 and 19 years old, as it's very rare that players are older than this, although they can go up to about 21 years sometimes. If you do this search and you can't find any players who match your description, try a worldwide search, as sometimes they are put into free agents if the league is bogged down with a load of players. Now that we have all the results from our search, we need to know which player to select, and that is step 3. Now this is the tricky part of finding regens, as now you have to actually select the correct player, and as I mentioned previously, they don't share a name. The number of results you have are going to depend on a few things, all depending on the player in question. As if you're searching for a player whose nationality is the same as that of the league in which they retired in, then it's more likely to be a higher number to choose from. So players that aren't in the same league as their nationality are going to be a little easier to find. But there won't be too many results, if even more than 1 or 2 in some cases, and now you can decide who the regen is. If you do have more than one result, there's one of 3 things that you should be looking for in the description. Firstly, showing great potential if the player's rating was between 80 and 85 at its highest. An exciting prospect if it was between 85 and 90 rated, and it will say has the potential to be something special for players 90 plus and above. Out of this list now, there shouldn't be too many that match your player's description, if even more than 1. If you are lucky enough to have 1, then go ahead and sign the player if you can, as you found your regen. If not, I would suggest shortlisting and scouting the players to give you a clearer view and then make your decision. Also, if it's the first season after they've retired, which I would suggest looking for them in, not only because it's cheaper to purchase the player overall rating, meaning a lower value, but mainly for the fact that when you approach to buy the player, it will state that this player has recently joined the club and won't move again. So you'll have to wait to the next window to sign them, but you will know for sure that you have found your regen. And that is all you need to do to find your regen. Once you've signed the regen and begin to play with them, they should rapidly grow to a similar potential of the player they replaced. Obviously, this is affected by playtime and form, so don't go buying them and leaving them on the bench for a few years, as they'll still grow, but not as well. I will be doing a video on my favorite and easiest regens to find for myself in FIFA 15 career mode, so make sure you go and check those out when they are uploaded. They'll be in the link in the description once those are up. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure you drop a comment below, give it a big thumbs up to let me know, and obviously hit that little red subscribe button to stay tuned for more if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching this video, and happy regen hunting. On your screen now there's two videos to do with my money glitch. One is a money glitch follow up and one is the money glitch itself. Go and check those out if you haven't already, and thanks again for watching.